So remember that exponents are just repeated multiplication. So if I want to simplify these exponents, what I have to do first until I get used to it is actually expand this out. Write out what you're actually doing. So 2 to the 4th is the same thing as 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Okay, it is not 2 times 4, it's 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Okay, so that's going to give me 4 times 2 times 2, 8 times 2, 16. Okay, next is 5 to the 3rd. It is not 5 times 3, instead it's 5 times 5 times 5. 5 times 5 is 25. 25 times 5 is going to give me 125. Okay, negative 2 squared. You see how the negative is in parentheses there. So negative 2 squared is saying negative 2 times negative 2. Okay, since the negative is in the parentheses, that's what's being squared as well. Okay, so negative 2 times negative 2 is 4. That is different compared to if I did negative 2 squared with no parentheses, because that negative is not being squared. That negative is just chilling on the outside, and then inside, all we're squaring is the 2. So we're only doing 2 times 2 inside the parentheses. So that's going to be negative 4. So these, negative 2 in parentheses squared and negative 2 squared, are not the same. Okay, and then the last one is negative 2 in parentheses to the 3rd power. So since the negative is in parentheses, we're taking negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. So negative 2 times negative 2, that's going to give me positive 4. I multiply that by negative 2, that's going to give me negative 8. Okay? So it's important to remember what exponents are because we are going to use those in order of operations. Now, order of operations, or the acronym PEMDAS, it tells us how to communicate when we're dealing with a complicated expression, so that one person and another person, if they're given the same problem, they solve it the same way. They simplify it the same way. Okay? And the way we do that is order of operations. We go in this order. First thing we look at, P, is parentheses. So these are our grouping symbols. So first thing, excuse me. Sorry. First thing we need to do is simplify what is inside grouping symbols. And those can be parentheses or brackets. The E, those are our exponents. So after we simplify what's in the parentheses, next thing we deal with is the exponents. Next is multiplication and division. Multiplication and division. So these we handle from left to right. Okay, so if the first thing you see is division, then you do that. The first thing you see is multiplication, you do that. When you're reading from left to right, after you've simplified your parentheses and your exponents. And then last but not least is addition and subtraction. And just like multiplication and division, we do that from left to right. Oops. Okay, so let's put this into practice. Let's try this out. So simplify the following expressions using the order of operations. So first thing we look for is parentheses or grouping. We see we've got that right here. So we have to simplify what's inside there to start. So I'm going to leave this 1/2 times 12 by itself. I'm going to subtract whatever is left over in the grouping. Inside the grouping, we have 20 minus negative 2, which is the same thing as 20 plus 2. So next, I'm going to simplify. I'm just going to get rid of those brackets because I can do 20 plus 2. So I've got 1/2 times 12 minus 22. Okay? Parentheses are taken care of. Next are exponents. There are no exponents. So next we do multiplication division from order from left to right. So I see multiplication. I have 1/2 times 12. So half of 12 is 6. And then the last thing, no more multiplication division. So I just have addition, subtraction. I do 6 minus 22, and I will get negative 16. Okay, so this long, complicated expression that we began with simplifies to just give me negative 16. Okay, let's do another one. First thing is parentheses. So I'm going to leave everything that's not in the parentheses. I'm not going to touch those yet. Now I have to look inside the parentheses. Inside the parentheses, are there any exponents? No. Next, multiplication division. I see I have 4 times 2, so I got to do that step next. 4 times 2 is 8. Now I subtract 10. Next thing I'm going to do, still leave everything that's outside the parentheses. I'm not going to touch those yet. Simplify inside the parentheses, 8 minus 10. That gives me negative 2. Okay, so the parentheses are done. Yes, they're still in the problem, but there's nothing else that I can do inside of those parentheses. So next I'm going to move to E, exponents. I've got an exponent right here. Okay, so 50 divided by 5 squared, 5 times 5, that's 25, plus negative 2. No more exponents. Next is multiplication and division. I've got division right here. 50 divided by 25, that is 2, plus negative 2. Okay, so 2 plus negative 2, so I'm moving towards 0, and actually I end up at 0. 2 plus negative 2 is 0. All right, we got one more to get through. We see here we've got a numerator and a denominator. So if you see that you have a numerator and a denominator, I want you to treat the top like its own group and the bottom like its own group. Okay, so the top, the numerator, 10 minus 4, we can simplify that to 6. In the denominator, there are no parentheses. The parentheses around negative 2, I can't do anything with that right now. So there are no parentheses. There are no exponents. I see division right here. Okay, so 21 divided by 7, that gives me 3. Got to charge this soon. Okay, 3 plus, and then I've got these negative 2 in the parentheses. So the numerator still is simplified at 6. The denominator, 3 plus negative 2, that's 1. 6 divided by 1, anything divided by 1 is going to be itself. So our final answer there is 6. Okay, so that is how you use order of operations. You got to go through these letters, P, E, M and D together, A and S together. You got to go through that for every problem when you're simplifying these. So here are some you try nows. Try those out. Ask me questions next time I see you. Have a good one.